Now I'm going to talk about knowledge. So I'm going to be referring to a YouTube video titled What is Knowledge, which was posted by JMD Apologetics 101, and it was actually a live stream that premiered on November 13th, 2018. So knowledge is basically a justified, true belief. Okay, I'm probably gonna be taking some information as well from another YouTube video titled "The Meaning of Knowledge," Crash Course Philosophy number 7, which is posted by Crash Course on March 21st, 2016. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way. Okay, so I kind of have this Venn diagram here. So a belief is something that it has in order for someone to know something, that it must be true. They must be able to justify their claim, and they actually have to believe it. Okay, so I have this Venn diagram here. I don't know how well you can see this, but basically, in order to have knowledge, someone must possess all three of these characters. All three of these characters come in play. If something is true and justifiable, but someone doesn't believe it, they either have never heard of that fact before, or they've heard the claim and the justification and they rejected it. So I call that ignorance or stupidity. Okay, so, and then we have if someone believes something and it's true, but they can't justify their claim, then that's not knowledge, because they're accidentally believing something, but they don't know why they believe that. So they don't really know they really don't know what they're believing. They're just, I don't know, they're just guessing. They don't really know. They're just thinking they know or guessing that they know, not actually knowing. And then if someone believes something and they can justify their reasons, but it's not true, well, then they're believing something for untrue reasons, and therefore they do not know what they're believing because it's not true. Now, in order for something to be true, it has to be true for every person. And I also think there's different types of knowledge, so knowledge may come from different sources depending on what it is. So many different types of knowledge that I'm not going to be able to get to them all. Okay, so the first kind of knowledge, the only type of knowledge I'm going to talk about, is the knowledge gained through observation of the world. So I'm going to try and illustrate this. Right now, like, if you can see this table, I am being recorded knocking on the table. Okay. Now, you're watching me, or if someone was here in person watching me knock on this table, and they could record me to prove that I was knocking on the table. And it's true that I knocked on the table because because the event has already happened. Because events that have already happened or have already occurred cannot be debated. And the justification would be that the person either saw me do it, actually, yeah, or they have the video to record. That's the justification. And it's true that I knocked on the table. It's a true fact that I knocked on the table. So the, I guess, closest definitions I found for this type of knowledge are posteriori and explicit. Because according to an article titled 13 Types of Knowledge, based on the source of knowledge that was posted by Hitesh Bazin on a website titled Marketing 91 on March 12, 2019, posteriori is a Latin term which means from which comes after. Therefore, posteriori knowledge refers to what comes after experience. In simple words, posteriori knowledge is a knowledge which is derived from practical experience. That term is applied to information which is developed with direct observations, unlike mathematics or logical processes which don't require empirical evidence. So, I guess for me, since I was the one that knocked on the table, I gained the knowledge that I knocked on the table by experiencing it and acting it out. So I think that for me that would be posteriori knowledge, but I'm not 100% sure. And then for the people watching the video, according to an article titled Tacit and Explicit Knowledge on a website titled Key Concepts in Information and Knowledge Management, the people watching the video would be gaining explicit knowledge because it was documented in the video, and it's easy to share that video with other people. So, if the universe and if humans are created would come from God, I would believe that knowledge comes from God. But however, God allows humans to gain knowledge of the world around us through our senses and observations. Okay, so He gives us knowledge, but He gives us knowledge in different ways, whether it be observing something, or reading an article, or watching a TV show, or having a conversation with someone. We gain knowledge in a bunch of different ways but it all comes from God. So I guess I guess people can determine one person could make a true statement for every person in the world. For example, self-fulfilling prophecies. If I wanted to say in a couple seconds I'm going to knock on the table, well, right now that statement is indeterminate because that's a statement that describes an event happening in the future. But if that happens, I knock on the table. Yeah, that statement is now true. But so I guess in that context, people can determine what's true, because like in the case where people say they're going to do something and they do it. But like in other contexts, like as far as like what's right and wrong, I don't think people have the right to determine that.